Story. He is Dan Mullen on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Dan and his family will be back in Starkville this weekend to celebrate the 2014 team that went to number one and had a great year. You're listening to ESPN 105.9 The Zone. This is the Out of Bounds Show. So, you spent 9 years. Is it crazy to look back and think you were young when you got that job. I think you were, 36 years old or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now there's some young guys. I think I was the youngest head coach at the time in the country.
Golly. And so the first year you come in and you upset Ole Miss, and then the next year you go to the Gator Bowl. That 2010 team was a special team, too, with K.J. Wright. You got everything you could get out of Chris Relf. You had a couple of running backs, some dudes that went on to the NFL. You had Fletcher and Boyd, and those guys. You went to, let's see, I was at that game, 52-17 or something over Michigan. I mean, that was a big deal because they hadn't won in a long time. That was kind of a springboard season for y'all, wasn't it?
Well, I think it did. I think that team that was a fantastic team, and that team beat Florida on the road, beat Georgia at home, beat Michigan in their worst bowl loss in the history of Michigan football, which is, we know, which is pretty special. And one of the things I think we learned that year is we could be good at Mississippi State. I wish, I think we ended up with 4 losses, all the teams ranked in the top 12 in the country. That's how tough the SEC West was that year. But I wish, I think if that talented group had maybe come a year or two later after we had won some more, we might have been even at a higher level. Because I think there were some guys learning that, hey, we can win here at Mississippi State. We can be a special football team. Now, the defense we had on that team was one of the most talented defenses to be around with, as you mentioned, Pernell McPhee, Josh Boyd, Fletcher Cox,
KJ, Wright. Wow.
You had John Banks in the secondary. You had some players on that team. And that was one of the things that made it special. We had a veteran offensive line again. And one of the things I've always tried to do is make sure we're putting our quarterback in the best position to do what they do well and win. And we were really, really able to control time of possession, run the football on people. But I think that was a big moment, not just for our team and also the fan base and maybe everybody at Mississippi State, but say, hey, we're allowed to be a great team. We're allowed to go play in New Year's Day bowl games. We're allowed to be nationally ranked, and we should expect to be that way. And I think moving forward, we spent a lot of time as a top 25 team because it changed kind of the mindset. That thought that, hey, we expect to be a top 25 team, and we need to perform that way. I know our fan base certainly believed it. They showed up and gave it the sport, made Starkville one of the hardest Davis Wade Stadium, one of the hardest places to play in the country. And I think that boost really kicked off all the success we had there.